Welcome to today's live stream. And today I'm going to be talking about how to understand growth as a leader in healthcare because there are certain steps that we all take in our leadership in order to finally feel and perform like we are competent individuals as leaders. I want to preface the conversation today with, I always have notes. You ain't got to be perfect, right? You just got to get the information out. I want to preface this by saying that this is inspired heavily on the 4 phases of leadership growth, according to John C. Maxwell. He is a very prominent leadership coach and speaker and author. However, a lot of those leaders, they have no idea what it's like to be leaders in healthcare. And so there's a lot of theory that takes place, but we want to make sure that we can apply this to what we are doing. So let's go over some of these phases of leadership and how that looks in your life so you can understand maybe where you are, understand where your next step should be, understand maybe where you might need to go back and do a little bit more work in order to be successful, especially if you feel like you have a little bit of stress as a leader. All right, so the first level of leadership that I want to talk about are those of us that we don't know what we don't know. And while that can seem like somebody that is an aspiring leader or maybe a new leader, I want to break this down a little bit more because we get this wrong. First of all, we're all leaders. We're all leaders. We're either leading and teaching our patients, we're leading and teaching other people on our team, we're leading and teaching other people in the community. So when I get DMs and emails about people that say that they're not leaders or they're only this or they only do that. No, you're a leader. Even by the very nature of you getting an education in your community, you're a leader because not everybody has taken the steps that you've taken to educate yourself in the way that you have. So you are a leader. So start thinking of yourself as a leader because it's very important that you understand the power of words and the power of how you describe yourself and the power of how those words have an impact on your thoughts, or they come from the way that you think about yourself and how those then form beliefs, and those beliefs form actions, and then the actions start a feedback loop for how you show up in life, and it just is a cycle that repeats. Part of breaking that cycle and stepping up and shifting energy in your life is knowing and acknowledging that you are a leader. By not doing so, you, to me, miss out on opportunities. And opportunities could be opportunities for growth, for learning, for stepping up in a way that you may otherwise feel like you're unqualified for. But it can also be financial opportunities. And we all know that while a financial opportunity may not seem, if we don't get it or we miss out on $1 or 50 cents or even a small promotion, if we don't take those things along the way, they don't seem like they're a big deal. But in the grand scheme of your career, they are. They add up exponentially. So you don't know what you don't know. You don't have to be a new leader. You could be a leader that has been either promoted through the ranks, which can be detrimental to your career. And I talk about this in the top 5 mistakes leaders in healthcare make, the ebook. So that could be very detrimental to your career if you just came up through the ranks and maybe haven't had the leadership training you need to actually have the mindset of a leader. Or it could have to do with us that rely on our education and our clinical leadership, but not so much understanding what it takes to be a leader of people, being able to influence people to get behind a mission, behind a goal, what have you. So you don't know what you don't know. And at this phase, you shouldn't be thinking that you know it all, or you shouldn't even be worrying about yourself so much and thinking about yourself, but it's about value. How can you become more valuable? Through learning, through growing, through stretching, taking on opportunities, etc. So number one, you don't know what you don't know. Number two, you know that you need to know. So as you start to understand you don't know what you don't know, sometimes you learn through trial and error, right? Especially because there are no there I'm going to not say no, but there is a lack of formal mentorship for leaders in healthcare. So um you don't know what you don't know. And then as you progress, you know that you need to know. You start to find gaps in your knowledge. Maybe you don't know how to communicate effectively with your team or have those hard conversations with difficult team members. Or maybe you don't know how to decompress after a tough day. All of those are things that you start to understand that you are lacking in your ability when it comes to leadership, because you start to become conscious, you start to become aware of what it is that you don't know. Now, at this point, you could just stay where you are. You can blame it on your team. Maybe they don't listen, they're disrespectful, they're lazy. You can blame it on yourself. Well, maybe if you had more time, maybe if you learn how to be more organized, maybe if people supported you more, all of the things. And all of those things may be true, but right now it's about growth, right? So how can you move out of this where now you know what you need to know, you know what you need to learn, right? How do you get there? How do you get the knowledge? How do you get the steps, the growth, all of that you need, particularly if you're having to support yourself and figure this out on your own? All right. Third step, you know what you don't know. So kind of the same, right? So you know what you need to know. You start to become conscious of how little you know. But the third step is you know what you don't know. And this is where a lot of struggle comes from. And this is where you have to stop spinning your wheels and invest in personal growth, in your success, because 99% of the time, once you get to this level, it's a personal growth level. The problem is we get stagnant. We focus on the things that are external to us, thinking that those are going to be the things that actually make us better leaders. When leadership in any area of your life is 99% all about your personal growth. However, because we are taught to look externally for solutions to problems, we bypass not knowing what we don't know until we learn by trial and error. We make mistakes, maybe we get in trouble, maybe we do things big and small, and then we have to adjust from that. Or maybe you start to know what you need to know, because maybe you need to know how to do budgets, you need to know how to do time cards, you need to know how to do evaluations, you need to know how to run a regulatory inspection or meeting, those type of things. But then there's a phase where you also start to know what you don't know. And that is usually the personal growth, the perception, the emotional intelligence, the r- rationality, the good decision making, all of those things that start to become they start to surface more as you start to see yourself struggling, spinning your wheels, getting exhausted, giving up a lot of energy and a lot of hours, and starting to see the things that you care about in your personal life fall to the wayside. I would love it if you would intervene at the other two steps. But this, if you are here, I'm telling you, you better intervene quickly, because this is where there is a decline, a rapid decline in leadership. All right, so then the fourth phase that he said is you know and you grow and it starts to show. So you start learning, you invest in yourself, you get help, you get support from someone that's doing it successfully, someone that can truly teach you what it takes to be a leader, so that you can marry that leadership mindset with the knowledge, the education, and the skills that you already have available to you in order to grow into the ideal self that you are meant to be as a leader. And this is exciting because you start to adopt this discipline of investing in yourself on a daily basis. And through that, you start to see your leadership flourish. And you can continue to grow from that point because of the things that you know, because of the things that you've sought out to changing yourself, because of the investments that you've made in bettering yourself so that you can better your career, and so on and so forth. But for the majority of leaders, they get stuck in level 3 and below, and end up I don't know what I'm trying to say. They get stuck in 3 or below, and either they have a career that kind of burns them out, they end up leaving their job or they end up getting fired. I guess that's just all that it comes down to. So, anyway, to become a better leader and to do it with ease, it's possible. We love our little evidence based research in healthcare, and you can find research that shows that there's nothing unique about you. There are half of the leaders that are doing it effectively, and there's half of leaders that aren't. And while we do experience ups and downs in our careers, for the most part, those that have invested in themselves and their personal development and actually stepping into the shoes of what it means to truly be a leader, they are not experiencing the long term burnout and resentment that you may be feeling in your career. So, while we did just close the doors for the first ever Leading in Healthcare mentorship, what I have done is started a Facebook group, totally free, it's private. So, there will be a few questions that you'll have to answer to get in. But the benefit of that is that we have a space and we have a community that we can just go in and I'll be going in there twice a week, just sharing some more thoughts and gems. We can ask each other questions in there, etc. So if you missed out on this first round of mentorship, formal mentorship with the Leading in Healthcare mentorship, at least you have somewhere to turn in the meantime. So I will have all of the information about how to join the Facebook group in the resource box that goes along with this video. And if you have any questions, as always, you can email me or DM me. Otherwise, I will talk to you in our next live stream on Friday.